Hello, Guardians, and welcome to the Destiny IT Pros podcast, brought to you by FrontPoint IT, Utah's premier managed services provider. Find us online at frontpoint-it.com. Hello, Guardians. It is Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. We are your hosts. My name is Jeremy Wright, and I go by the gamertag IT Outlaw on all the various platforms.
And I'm Dan Stamford, and I go by Mutant Entree.
And if you're listening to this podcast, you can actually watch it on youtube.com/frontpointit. We have our YouTube channel there where you can watch a video of this. And for those of you watching the video, you can also view this in the iTunes podcast store thing and listen to it on your various iDevices. All right. So we usually do this podcast on Tuesday or try to sometime this week. But every time we do this podcast, it seems like we end up losing out on information an hour later. We'll finish the podcast and we'll go into editing, and then all of a sudden the bomb gets dropped by Bungie or by somebody in the community, and we're like, oh man, we totally missed that. So now we have to wait till next week to cover it.
Yeah, they keep dropping news, all these new updates, and this is what's going on and that. And yeah, we're left hanging going, oh man, hold on.
So we waited till we got some news yesterday, and we waited till we kind of got everything sorted out, and now we are ready to relay the information that we've learned and all the things that are going on to you today. So first, let's run through the weekly reset. The weekly Nightfall is the Dust Palace Strike, previously the PS4 exclusive. That is the one with the 3 Scion flares at the top of the building there in the Dust Palace.
Probably the hardest part about that was Grounded. That was challenging. Don't jump, Guardians. Stay down.
So there's the Berserk modifier, small arms, grounded, and chaff. Berserk is basically the same as like the Epic one, where they don't flinch no matter how much damage they take or whatever, or angry modifier or whatever. Now it's called Berserk. Small arms, of course, primary weapon damage is favored, meaning that your other weapons seem like they do less damage while your primary does a little bit more. Grounded, of course, is the don't jump, and chaff is radar is inactive.
That was rough too.
Yeah, you can't ever tell where your teammates are.
Yeah, you'd stand there, shooting away, doing your thing, and the next thing, boom, you're dead, and there's a big old dude standing behind you who just smashed you with his shield. It's like, great, I had no idea he just snuck up on me.
So that strike wasn't too bad. We were able to finish that without any real problems.
I think we cleared him half an hour.
Yeah, about that.
It wasn't real hard. I mean, it wasn't real bad. I mean, there were points where we kept, you get wrecked a few times, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. One of the things that was real helpful was to call it out to the other players, because without the radar, call out, hey, someone's sneaking up behind you. Watch out, moved your left. If you notice something, that was so it took some teamwork and a little bit more calling of things that you normally wouldn't do.
But we made it through victorious and got crappy rewards per usual. We'll go over that in a second.
Yay.
But this week's Court of Oryx, the Tier 3 boss, is Balwar. I don't know if it's a man or a woman thing, but it's a wizard from the Hive, and it is probably a quarter of the difficulty of Thalnok, the Fan of Crota from last week. That was actually pretty rough. This one, I think I did this one 7 times in a row last night. Just because the guys that were showing up all had antiquated runes, we kept doing it over and over again. It is cake. So on this particular fight, all the mechanics is that the ground is still that burning green stuff the whole time.
Oh.
But there's safe spots that you strengthen your light, and that's the only spot that you can damage anybody in. And they have like these big like pillars of light, and you can basically stand in like the center or stand underneath the podium there in the Court of Oryx, or at the back is where the 3 little things spawn. And you just stand in there and shoot stuff. The only real bad guys that spawn are some Thrall, Cursed Thrall, some Acolytes of Balwar, which are just like yellow bar acolytes with a shield. They're real easy to take down. And then a few random knights and stuff. Nothing really crazy. You just snipe the boss really over and over again, or sleeper simulant, rockets, whatever you got. 2-3 minutes. Well, not even 3 minutes, like 2 minutes. And she's down and you're good to go.
was going to say, because you've only got like 4 or 5 minutes for the entire thing anyway. So
it's real easy. This one is definitely a good one if you have any quests or anything that require an antiquated rune summon. Do it this week because it goes much faster than the Fana Crota one, and it's much easier, especially with the team of randoms, because all you have to do is deal damage. There's no timing elements really involved, so it's pretty good. And then Prison of Elders, nobody cares. So now on to first let's talk about the hot fix, I guess, that dropped yesterday. So patch 2.01.2. Basically, this is a quick hot fix for some issues in Destiny. They call this one the one about Shadow Shot because there apparently was a problem where if you went to your inventory screen while using the quiver perk on your Shadow Shot tree, it allowed you to shoot 3 quivers. But if you went to the inventory screen after shooting 2, you could get all 3 back again and continue to do that for infinity. I tried it. It didn't work for me.
My son, who runs a hunter, he tried it. He didn't get any luck, but he was on a fire team in it, and one of the guys there was was doing it over and over. I think you might have had to have like either had a particular piece of armor or a gun or something. I think there was one more piece to that recipe, and then it worked. But
it's not really that big of a deal because having to switch your inventory screen after 2 quiver shots is kind of annoying anyway, so I don't really think it could have been incredibly useful in any situation other than unlimited shadow shots. But what's really odd about it is the way that Bungie fixed it.
Agreed.
So Bungie says this is a temporary fix and the node will be restored in a fixed state in an upcoming patch. So they removed the extra shots from quiver. They just removed that entire node from the stat tree. That's it.
They just took it right out of the hunter's ability tree. Just poof, it's gone right now, or grayed out at least. Very interesting way to handle it is just basically they just stomped that fire out as quick as they could. Bungie even, I believe they tweet about it, I think, a few days ago and said that they were very aware of a particular issue with a particular subclass getting unlimited super. And they said they didn't want to give any more detail than that, but they said they're hot on the trail of it and they'll have it patched as soon as possible, which was yesterday.
My assumption is that it's probably deeply rooted in the game code somewhere, therefore it's not like an easy switch to flip where they can just be like, oh yeah, we forgot to turn off the unlimited super for the shadow shot. Let's go turn that off. It's probably deeply ingrained in some type of environment or something, and they can't do anything about it at the moment without a bigger update. So they probably just said, okay, you know what, let's take that off for now and we'll go from there. So then the activities, the Daily Heroic Story, they removed deprecated quest requirements from the Siege of the Warmind, removed deprecated quest requirements from the Awakening. Don't know what that's about. I'm assuming there must have been something weird going on there. The Nightfall Strike, this is where we're talking about the reward. So they increased the base level of Nightfall legendary rewards by 10 attack/defense. So anything that you get will be 10 more than it was before. Increase the chance of legendary rewards by 10% from 50 to 60%.
Hang on. I think I did see that. As I'm thinking about the drops that I got from the Nightfall, I think I got 2 of them, and they were straight up 300s.
Yeah.
Normally, I wouldn't have necessarily seen that. So right now, I'm capped at 300 because I need, that's as high as you can go without raid gear. So that doesn't. Well, yeah. Anyway, because I haven't done the raid, maybe that's a better way to put it. I'm capped at 300 gear. I have never picked up anything higher than that, and that is what I got off of the night raid. Where last week I was more like in the 290, mid 290s, stuff like that. Yeah. So that's interesting. Go ahead, sorry.
And then they increased the number of strange coins or 3 of coins awards. So last night I got 19 strange coins as a reward from the Nightfall, and that's it.
Oh, yeah. I only got a handful because I did get gear.
But I think typically we got 11 before. So that's increased there.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And then ghosts have been added to the legendary reward loot table, so you'll be able to get ghost shells from the Nightfall from now on.
Which I didn't, and I really, really need. I don't know what the stinginess is with the ghost shells, but boy, I need a better ghost shell.
Then legendary engrams no longer drop from Nightfall boss strike kills. they will continue to drop their unique legendary items. So, for instance, if you go to do the Darkblade quest, you'll be able, or Darkblade Strike on Nightfall, you'll still be able to get the Rage or the Strike Specific gear if you're doing it, but they're not going to drop like a bunch of legendaries. Like I know the last week when we did Nightfall, when we killed the guys, they drop a bunch of like blue and legendary crap on the ground.
Yeah.
And then you get Nightfall rewards.
Yes.
They took that away.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah. And then they removed antiquated runes from the loot tables because people probably were getting antiquated runes as a Nightfall reward and were probably irritated about it. Can imagine that. And then the King's Fall hard mode will be available 10 a.m. on 10/23, so in 2 days, so on Friday.
This Friday.
Recommended light is 310.
And then the new cap is 320, I believe.
Correct. King's Fall hard mode rewards will drop up to 320 light. Oryx in hard mode will guarantee a raid item drop each week without requiring moldering shards. Oryx in normal mode will still require moldering shards. Moldering shards can drop in King's Fall hard mode, but only if a character hasn't cleared King's Fall normal for the week. So moldering shards, the more of them you have, kind of the higher chance of getting stuff.
Better your drop rate.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So they're wanting people to do normal mode and then hard mode. They don't want people just cycling on hard mode.
Correct.
So...
that's pretty much it for the patch notes. A real small hot fix. But what did we see yesterday? What happened, and why are you upset about it?
I'm not upset, just bummed. I guess is a better way to
about it.
I'm just bummed. It's like, man, once again. So yesterday they did. There was an exotic weapon quest that came live. So just like Sleeper Simulant went live 2 weeks ago.
About that, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. As you can see behind us, those of you who are watching this, No Time to Explain, the exotic pulse rifle went live yesterday. So if you had done the things you needed to do ahead of yesterday, then you were given a new exotic quest from Lakshmi, I believe it is, with Future War Cult. We, found out about all this yesterday when it broke. Again, Bungie tweeted it out that there was something interesting going on. And so we quick ran through it, which we're going to talk about here, kind of the details of it, so that when you guys see it next time, you can take advantage of it. But, once again, went through all the steps, got everything ready to go, just 1 day too late. And so no exotic quest for us at the moment.
That's right.
Until Bungie goes and releases it again or allows it to occur again. So I'm waiting on Sleeper Simulant and now No Time to Explain. And by the way, the No Time to Explain exotic rifle is really quite cool. It's there behind us. I don't have the details. Maybe Jeremy can pull it up here. But I know the biggest perk on it is all primary shots, all critical hits are returned to your magazine. It is the exotic version of the pulse rifle you received earlier in the game from the Stranger. When you first completed the original Destiny story quest, you were given that. It was rare, wasn't it? It wasn't even a legendary. It was rare.
Yeah, it was just a blue.
Yeah, it was a rare pulse rifle. So this is the exotic version of it. It looks absolutely awesome, and it comes out at $290. Again, you can see that by the picture behind us. So you have to do a story mission on Heroic. So yesterday, what was it called?
It's Paradox.
The Paradox mission was a Heroic daily yesterday, and that is the mission you have to do with a few little extra goodies. You want to go over it, Jeremy?
Well, basically, you have to go through and get the 3 ghosts, and then 4th ghost. You have to get Praedyth's actual ghost through the vault. So you're going to go through the Vault of Glass doing that. You have to get...
They're hidden.
They're hidden ghosts, correct. There's one right when you go in a secret walkway underneath where you normally go. So you go in there to get that first one. And they don't show up as ghosts. They show up as memories. Actually, it says collect memory instead of ghost. And then the second one is in the Spirit Bloom Path. So where you typically would fight the Templar and the Templars well, instead of going through the big vault door at the back, you go through the side way in the hidey hole. You go down through that way. And there's a certain point. You'll have to look it up. It's very hard to explain verbally. But you go through and you jump over a pillar and you walk along, and there's a second ghost there. And then you go down through the rest of the mission like normal. Fight the Hydra. That's at the end there. Kill the Hydra, but don't go scan Praetor's bones. Instead, continue through the Gorgon maze like you were doing Vault of Glass. And then you go, instead of starting the jump puzzle, you go off to the left. And then you drop down very far after going through a little thing. After going through a cave, you drop down very far. And then you find the third ghost. And then you come back and another jump puzzle starts.
Yeah, that triggers a brand new third jump puzzle with a complex off in the distance that you've got to get through.
Right. And then there's the portal over there. So once you get to the portal, you go through and you pulls your whole fire team. The only keys to this are you have to find the ghosts in the correct order.
Correct.
So you have to start basically in the order that you progress through. I don't know that it would really be possible to do them out of order.
I don't think so.
But they have to be done in the same mission. So you can't start the mission, leave, and come back and grab like the second one if you didn't get it. You have to do them all on the same mission.
Yep.
And your fire team cannot wipe. Individual people can die, sure.
Yes.
But you can't wipe and go back and start a checkpoint over.
If you do wipe, if your entire team wipes for whatever reason, you just need to start over.
Yeah.
Just start from the beginning and go through it again. Get them in order. It is not timed, and once you get the third ghost or memory and you start the jump puzzle, truthfully only one of your fire team needs to make it across the jump puzzle. He'll go through the complex, and then at that point the rest of the fire team will get pulled to him, and then there's a big fight there. Again, not timed, and you can die. You just again cannot wipe your entire team, and so you just take your time, work on that. And there's a big honking taken Minotaur that's there. Take him down, and then a door opens, and through that door is a chest sitting there, and voila, in that chest is the fourth ghost. And then you take that ghost, and it's pretty clear. Anyway, you have to take it back to the tower and go see Lakshmi, their future war cult, turn it into her. And at that point, turn it into her, and then basically you're done. At some point in the future, which was yesterday for those of you who had already done it, which we weren't one of them, you were then given a new quest.
Correct. A quest not forged in light.
Correct. Yep. And the first step in that, we'll go through the steps. You have to join the Future War Cult, and you have to do a whole bunch of reputation for Future War Cult. If you want to shortcut that, it's about 50 motes of light. If you break it down, you will get to where you need to be. And then you have to kill a bunch of major or ultra taken Minotaurs. And it does not matter. They can even just simply be majors, so just yellow bar Minotaurs. They don't need to be named. They don't have to be that particularly special. And I cannot remember how many you have to kill.
You just have to kill one.
Is it one?
Yeah, you kill one just to get a simulation core.
I really thought it was more than that.
You may have to kill more. I don't know if they'll drop on the first one, but once you get that simulation core, you're good.
Okay.
You dismantle it, and then you have to return it to Lakshmi for your next task.
At that point, you're off to the Vault of Glass, and you need to kill Atheon, and you get an eye from Atheon once you kill him. I double checked, and you can do it on normal mode. The Vault of Glass, I guess you could do it on hard. I suspect that would be just fine also. But you get the eye, and you dismantle the eye, and then you go talk to Lakshmi again.
Mm-hmm. And then at that point, you'll have to complete Shadow at Twilight. This recommended 270 light heroic mission requires you to find a chest that spawns at random locations. You'll need to cleanse yourselves too. Do this by stepping in the light that's scattered across the map so that you do not get overwhelmed by darkness. Return to Lakshmi once you've looted the chest.
So you go blind is what's happening. There's particular points on the map. So the Twilight Gap is the Crucible map that you're doing, and if when you stand in particular places, basically you get cleansed, Vault of Glass, and then you can see again, but then you're constantly going blind, and you have got to get around, and you've got to find this chest that's there somewhere.
And then you have to complete Blood of the Garden, and that is your 290 light heroic mission. And you kill enough enemies to summon the final boss, and you have to keep the anger meter at 100% to kill the Taken Ultra. To do that, you have to continue to kill the ads or whatever to keep his keep his anger meter at 100%.
Yeah, otherwise I guess he's immune. So you got to kill enough ads fast enough to keep this anger meter high enough, over 100, so that you can damage him. And then once you do that, you run back to Future War Cult, and voila, you get a pretty new exotic pulse rifle.
That is kinetic only.
Yeah. That was another thing we talked about the other day, huh? All about the elemental damage with primary weapons. What in the world is going on there? From the best that we can, we did some research. It seems that there's only a few exotic primaries that are doing elemental damage, and so far there does not appear to be any legendaries whatsoever that do, either solar or arc or void damage. We're wondering if Bungie has decided they're not ever going to allow that again because they were too good, with the whole weapon nerf party that they did with the Taken King, or maybe hard mode on the Taken King raid. Maybe that's where you can pick the stuff up. Maybe. There's a lot of questions with that.
Yeah, we're waiting on that. I'm trying to read through. I kind of want to talk about this whole new system of these random little missions.
No, go for it. Yes. How do you Jeremy, how do you feel
I think it's BS
about these exotic quests that just pop up and you're like, dang it, I missed it again?
So I wasn't mad because I got Sleeper Simulant. I already had the 4 pieces, so I was able, and I happened to just randomly catch word like, oh, the Sleeper Simulant quest is out there, and I had time that day to go home and play that mission. Little did I know that I absolutely had to finish it that day. I did not know that. So I got lucky in that regard if I just happened to do it and I was able to get Sleeper Simulant. However, I don't think that this is sustainable, and I think they're going to irritate a lot of their players going forward because not all the players are constantly looking at the stuff online, and nobody knew what any of that stuff was for. It was just random. We just got it, and then the details leaked out slowly after it was already out. My problem with that is that it's not random anymore. Sure, dropping the little things is random, but this one wasn't.
Yeah.
This was not random in any way, shape, or form.
But that's what Bungie said, that's what they were trying to get away from. They were trying to give us, very specific ways to get exotics.
That nobody knew about.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll get it next time it comes up.
Yeah.
I guess. But some people are saying we have to wait till the next weekly reset. Other people are saying, what difference would it make if that story came back up again for us? It wouldn't make any difference. We got the part we needed to get. We got the Cult Ghost. We turned it in.
Correct. Yeah, it all comes down to when really it's not so much when that story mission is the heroic again. Mm-hmm. It may be that may be part of it. But really it's just when Bungie decides to flip the trigger and say, okay, everybody who has done that story mission and got the ghosts and did this, or, found those little legendary fragments and returned it to the gunsmith. Okay, here we go. Sleeper Simulant is live today. Or, No Excuse or No Time to Explain, is live today. It's been 2 weeks. I'm pretty much 100% positive. It's been 2 weeks now on Sleeper Simulant. And of course, this just came out. And, hey, that's great. But I don't know. I mean, could it be a month before they do it again? Could it be a few days? Could it be next week? Don't know.
So it's just annoying to me because there is no random. It's not random. Bungie can decide when and how to release these missions and to release those things.
I see where you're going, yes.
At least with Gjallarhorn, at least previously, you could blame it on the RNG. You could just say, it's completely random. I either have to wait for Xur to have it, or I just got to grind the Nightfall. And sure, there were a lot of people that didn't get anything that they wanted sometimes, but there was nothing that could be done. It was completely random. In this case, it's not. This is Bungie saying, well, if you were lucky enough to do some random mission through the...
And some whack steps that made no sense.
And I'd never seen anything about this before. I'd never heard about this before prior to yesterday. And Bungie's wording, which I can't find the tweet anymore, by the way, which I find to be very odd from Bungie.
Yeah, they really made it sound like if you did the quest... if you did the daily story mission yesterday and found the ghosts and all that, you could get the gun. In other words, you would get the quest and could move forward, but that was definitely not the case. And just to be 100% sure of it, we fired up the Xbox today and we checked it out. Maybe the quest came live a day later. No, it's gone. It's gone for the time being until Destiny, in their infinite wisdom, decides to grace us with the possibility of getting the exotic again. And, it does set a dangerous precedence. Bungie can sit back and say, you know what? We really think there's, we've decided we don't like the Sleeper Simulant, or we decided that, we wanted about 2% of the players to have Sleeper Simulant. We're there. We're good with that. I think we're done. We're not going to allow that, to trigger again. Or what happens if the point, Bungie sits back and goes, holy cow, 3/4 of all the players out there have Sleeper Simulant. This is getting, saturated. It's too powerful. It's causing problems, just like Gjallarhorn again. We're just going to turn that off and nobody else can get Sleeper Simulant. Or, No Time to Explain, etc. You're right, Jeremy. It puts all the control with Bungie, and it is up to their whim and their decision when they're going to, let these things roll live again.
Mm-hmm. And that's what frustrates me is that they won't. I'm reading through the tweets and replies, people saying like, "Oh, you have to run it again. You have to do this again. You have to do that again."
It should be in Slack.
Yeah, I'm looking through right now. The tweet exactly from Bungie says, enter Vault of Glass
you've got it. Okay,
and
cool.
Seek out Praedyth's ghost in the daily story. Begin a quest for a weapon torn from time.
Yeah. So seek out the ghosts and then get the quest.
So that sounds like not if you'd already done this stuff, you get the quest. But I'm reading through the replies and people are saying like, oh, you have to do this 2 times. Oh, it needs to be the daily. You have to run the daily, and next time it's the daily, you get the mission in the tower.
Yeah.
So we're waiting again for them to flip the switch and have it be available. So my beef with that is, sure, clearly some people had already done this somehow by doing, wandering around and doing nothing. And good for them. Good that they were exploring. They figured it out. They got it done, and they found all the pieces somehow. I find that hard. I guess I don't find it hard to believe thinking about
there's millions of people and
it's kind of inevitability, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just that Bungie can flip the switch. That's what bugs me about it. I like the randomness. I like the RNG because at the very least, I could just be like, well, I guess I didn't get it because I just wasn't lucky today. And when you did get something, you're like, apparently the RNG gods are looking good at me today. They're smiling down on me today. I got Gjallarhorn. I got this. I got that. Whatever it may have been. But now it's not. It's, oh, Bungie didn't tell us that there was a prerequisite to this. We didn't know there was a prerequisite. Now we can't get this gun because we didn't have that. Sure, it'll be back next time. But how much more fun is it to be on the cusp of that and be able to be like, I'm one of the first people that has this gun, you know, or I
Yep.
got the gun the first time.
Yep.
And that's how I felt with Sleeper Stimulant, because I go into doing Court of Oryx or doing a strike or something, and I see people with raid gear, which I don't have any yet because I just haven't had time to do the raid yet. And so I see people without Sleeper Stimulant. And they'll message me, some of them, like, you have Sleeper Stimulant? Like, help me with this. You know, like, it's cool to be able to have that weapon that nobody else has. And so to be able to have that exotic pulse rifle would be really cool.
You know, the thing too is, and Bungie knows exactly what they're doing with this part, but basically they're forcing us to log on every day to check things and see what's going on, or at a minimum, really watch the media and see if anybody announces that one of these comes live. You know, for example, Sleeper Simulant is not dependent on any story mission at all. Mm-hmm. Sleeper Simulant is just dependent on you finding those legendary pieces, those 4 pieces, which, by the way, I did find piece number 4 that day. Mm-hmm. But it didn't matter. So again, I finished it the day that it was live, but it made no difference. Because since then I have not found another piece at all, and I put in plenty of playtime, and I should have if I was still one short. So you can't sit back, you know, with Sleeper Simulant and say, oh, well, this story mission is today. That tells me this is occurring. No, it could be any time the Sleeper Simulant could come online again. I suspect Bungie may do a little patch update, so that might be a bit of a clue that, you know, the game has changed a little bit. So that leads me to believe that, you know, No Time to Explain, they could make it go live at any moment, regardless of the daily mission. And, you know, and there's even a part of me that kind of wishes they would do that, so that, you know, poor souls like us don't go out and go to the effort, you know, especially when Bungie tweets something like that, saying that, you know, go find the ghost and then get your quest. We go to the effort all excited about it, and dun, dun, dun,
I think
no quest.
Part of my irk too is that the wording of their tweet was very much in the vein of, this is now available, go do this and you can progress on to doing this. With Sleeper Simulant, they didn't say that.
Correct. They said, hey, did you get a new mission today?
Yeah, exactly. It was just kind of there, like, oh, if you happen to do this, you got that. That was a different thing than them specifically saying, go into the vault, get Praetor's Ghost, start a new quest to get this gun.
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
Get Ghosts. Your effect is you're going to get this quest. And so we were all sorts of ants in the pants here, you know, all excited to go, you know, go back, fire up the fire teams and, you know, go chase this bad boy down. And, you know, the mission wasn't particularly hard. I mean, it wasn't like mind-bendingly difficult, not like Black Spindle or anything like that. But I was looking forward to being able to continue to chase an exotic, because truth be told, my first favorite gun in the entire game was that pulse rifle that the stranger gives you at the beginning of the game. I played that thing like crazy mad. To this day, on my Xbox account, if I pull it up, it still says my favorite weapon is a pulse rifle, even though you know, since then, once I outgrew that gun, I really didn't use pulse rifles much. That tells you how much I did use that gun. And so, you know, this one has a, you know, a little bit of a soft spot. You know, I'm like, oh, this would be really great to be able to get, you know, basically the big brother to that original gun. It's got a lot of really neat perks on it that would be pretty cool to play with. But
yeah, so that's a little bit just frustrating to me. I get it. They're, like you said, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to log in every day.
Yeah.
They're trying to extend the playtime that everybody's doing. They're trying to get people away from, oh, we just have to do the raid now and doing the raid over and over again. They're trying to give us these little crumbs and things, and who knows what else is out there that we haven't seen yet, stuff they haven't added to the database that will show up eventually.
A lot of people are saying this may be it, at least for now. Nobody's seen any crumbs, but go ahead.
Yeah, maybe we haven't seen, maybe they don't know. I mean, I think there's still some exotic pieces of armor that are out there that nobody knows about. There's probably some other things that nobody's aware of that will eventually drop. I mean, they have the power to be able to push those things into the database.
Exactly. They could always add something too.
Especially with the amount of data mining that's going on. And there was a thing like you were talking about last week where somebody said, oh, they're going to start selling things to make it so you can level up your subclass, and they're going to start doing these microtransactions for this and that. And Bungie came out and said, first somebody said, we're not doing this one thing, but they didn't say anything about the other. And then Deej came out and said, no, look, you guys really need to stop doing this. We are not doing any of that stuff. These are remnants. These are trash from other things we were messing with a long time ago. Stop looking at this and trying to get everybody all riled up over nothing type thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is a great point. I forgot about our last podcast on that, the microtransactions. Bungie has emphatically said, no, they will not be selling, perks to get better drops and raids. They will not be selling, weapons or gear, any of that sort of stuff. Whether or not it continues to go beyond emotes, I would still place a strong bet it will. But it appears to be that it will just simply be aesthetic items, ships, shaders, emblems, stuff of that nature. And I'm guessing on all that, but I think it's a very good bet that will occur. Mm-hmm. But the rest of it, as far as affecting gameplay, they have said absolutely not. They will not do that. And basically, they reaffirmed that they had promised that they weren't ever going to do that previously. So,
yeah, we'll see what they do. I know that it sucks. I liked relying on the RNG and just being random. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the players can't complain about not having the luck and the RNG being the problem, the random generator, they never got this drop or all that. So Bungie addressed that issue, but now they've basically placed the gun right to their own head, and now it's all up to Bungie to grace us with their, allowing us to even try to do this stuff on particular days. Kind of part of me says, Bungie, maybe it needs to be more like a couple of days or maybe even a week. This week, you have the ability to, get the sleeper simulant, not just one day. Mm-hmm. It's a little brutal. But I guess maybe time will tell. I mean, if next Tuesday, Tuesday coming up, if Sleeper Simulant were to go live or something like that, I'll be shutting up pretty quick. I'm pretty excited about the new gun. And I don't know. It is the unknown at the moment that is the big question. How often are they going to reset these things, or not reset them, but allow these quests to be obtained again? Huge question. I mean, again, is it going to be a month? Is it going to be days, weeks? Don't know.
Never.
I can't
Are they
believe
going
that.
to pull a Gallahorn Sleeper Simulant?
I can't believe
2 weeks
my
after,
gosh.
sure.
Dang it.
How long was it after launch did we get it? Would have been about 3 or 4 weeks.
Was there?
No.
Oh.
I'm saying Sleeper Simulant. So, with Gallahorn, they sold
Oh, yes.
Gallahorn 2 weeks after launch. And very many people had enough strange coins. And a lot of people were like, I'm not wasting my heavy slot on an exotic. Blah,
Yeah,
blah,
they didn't
blah,
know what
blah.
it was. Mm-hmm.
And nobody used it. And then Xur never sold it again until a month before the launch of Taken King, before it was pretty much obsolete anyways.
That would be absolutely brutal. Sleeper Simulant, it was dead, and they're going to sit on it for a few months.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be rough.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they'll do something like that. I don't know. I don't like this new idea of I like the idea of having to do these weird side missions and having to watch YouTube videos while you're playing to figure out where these things are, and stressing about it all day while you're at work, looking at it oh man, I gotta do this when I get home. I'm gonna do this. I like that. I don't like how unrewarding it's being to do that.
Yeah.
Where we go home and we only did it was 45 minutes I think we spent on it total.
Sure.
And probably 30 of that was spent trying to get my way out of the first drop down. I got lost in there. We were all turned around for 20 minutes.
That's probably the roughest part, is after you get the first ghost to get back on track, to get where you're supposed to be. Yeah, we were pretty lost for a long time.
We just weren't really paying attention, and we were both down there. We're just where are we? And everything else was really easy, very straightforward. And so I like that. I like that it was a little bit difficult. You had to do something specific. You didn't have to. So what was good about it is that it was on a regular mission. It's another mission inside of a mission.
Yep.
So I like that.
Yeah.
I like that you have to find multiple pieces in specific places, in specific order, and nobody can die. Or, nobody, you can't wipe.
Mm-hmm.
So those are challenging things to a degree. They're not challenges to, like, veteran players, per se, in any way, shape, or form. But it's something you have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So you have to do that, and then you have to defeat, go and do the jump puzzle again, which some people have always lauded. The jump puzzle is the hardest part of the Vault of Glass. And so you have to do another one, which it moves pretty fast, but it's really not that bad to finish. I finished it first try, no problem, and I had no idea where I was going, really. I was just jumping.
Yeah.
So I made it through. So I liked that because it was cool because it's different. It has these kind of difficult elements, but it wasn't incredibly difficult. I don't think this is the best weapon in the game in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So it's not like you're getting like this crazy cool exotic from doing like a mildly difficult thing, but that's perfectly fine. That's probably a very fitting reward for that. And Black Spindle is probably a very fitting reward for the cluster F of that whole problem that you have to deal with there.
Dude, that's a rough deal.
But think of somebody who is new to Destiny. These things seem like they're kind of geared towards the veteran players. The people who have a ton of time to sit there and figure out all this stuff and do the weird side missions for nothing. Because prior to this, the side mission was for nothing.
Correct. Yeah, it just ended with
50 reputation with the Future War
Cult. And it's like, okay, those who actually did complete it ahead of time were kind of scratching their head, wondering what might be next. And there was rumblings that it could be this particular gun. And sure enough, it is. But there was, no real kickback on that. I don't know. Who are they rewarding? Are they rewarding the, the hardcores versus the, the grimy weekend warrior players, your, normal people who play?
Casuals.
I don't know. I mean, I would not by any means call myself a hardcore player, but it was not like you said, Jeremy. It is not a particularly hard thing to do. It's just I had absolutely no idea that it existed until yesterday, until we started to get these rumblings of something was special about yesterday in Destiny, and then we figured it out. What was up?
I guess our problem is we have one ear to the ground on this stuff for the most part. Not like the really like detailed, intricate news, like knowing about that mission prior. But for the rest of the stuff, we pay attention to Planet Destiny. We pay attention to Bungie. We pay attention to Twitter and all the stuff that's going on. But we don't have the time that the other people have to play it. So we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. If you were a very casual player, you may not be online. You may have no idea that this even exists.
Correct.
And you just go and do the daily heroic, like this is just your thing. And you go through, you finish it, you get your legendary marks, you go on your way, and you continue to do things. And maybe these exotic things that don't even come up to in your head. You don't even know that they're there. You don't even care. I can't unsee them once I know they're there, and I can't unsee the thought that I could have had that. But they don't even know. And so maybe that's the case, is you're just like, oh, well, like they just go about their way and they do their stuff and they're trying to level up their characters.
Fair enough.
We just have one ear to the ground, almost to the ground. It's like we're watching these very expert people all the time, but we're not really paying attention to what they're saying, but we're picking up weird little words left and right. We're like, oh, did you hear something about this thing? Like I heard something about it, but I don't really know what it is.
That's a good point. So maybe the casuals just don't even care. I mean, sure, they would like the gun, but at the same time, they're completely unaware. They would, for example, don't sit there and listen to Destiny podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're off doing their thing, and maybe they get up to the nightfall and they get an exotic drop, and they're totally fine with that. But I don't know. I guess we're kind of right in smack in the middle or something like that. I don't know. Just enthusiasts. How about that? Destiny enthusiasts.
Pretty much.
Anyway.
We don't play as much as we should, but we act like we do.
It's kind of hard when you've got work and family, but
real life things to worry about getting in the way of us saving the universe.
Mortgages and food, as if that's any fun, and as if you guys in the podcast want to hear about that. But anyway, right on. It's just straight up different, and I am bummed that didn't get the quest, and now we're just waiting again.
Yep, pretty much. I can't really think of anything else this week. I think that's pretty much it. Guess we'll come back next week, probably with some raid experience, maybe.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. We got to get in there. We need to start, finishing it, whatever. But we got to start beating up the mini bosses along the way.
Yeah, so we will be back with some raid experience next week and probably some more crazy news. So thanks for listening this week, guys. As always, this podcast is brought to you by FrontPoint IT, Utah's premier managed services provider. Find us online at frontpoint-it.com. Thanks again for listening. We are your hosts. My name is Jeremy Wright, and you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Xbox, and PlayStation Network under the gamer tag IT Outlaw. Feel free to subscribe, follow, comment, whatever you want to do at me at that gamer tag.
And I'm Dan Stanford, and I go by Mutant Entree, and I have no idea what the social media stuff is. And have a good day, Guardians.
Thanks for listening. Have a great week.